All right, so today we're going deep on something that I think a lot of people kind of get freaked out about sometimes, Retrograde planets.
Yeah, for sure. It's
We're calling this one a deep dive because we're going to really dig into what they are, what they mean in astrology.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe why people are so afraid of them.
Yeah, it's interesting because astronomically speaking, it's a completely normal phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
It happens, all the planets go retrograde at some point in their orbit, so it's not like some kind of rare,
Right.
cosmic event.
Exactly.
And, as you were saying, a lot of people when they hear Mercury retrograde, they're like, "Oh
It's
no."
like instant panic, right?
Yeah, what's going to go wrong? My computer's going to crash or
My flight's going to get delayed.
my flight's going to get delayed or, I'm going to say the wrong thing to the wrong person.
Boy.
But, I think it's really important to kind of reframe the way we think about these retrograde periods. They're not about things going wrong. It's more like the universe is hitting the pause button.
Okay.
It's a time to really go inwards, reflect, reevaluate things, especially in the areas of life that are ruled by that particular planet that's retrograde.
So kind of instead of looking at it as everything's going to fall apart, look at it as a time to check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a cosmic check-in.
Right.
How are you doing? Are you on the right track? Are your actions aligned with your intentions? All of that good stuff.
Right.
And so with Mercury retrograde, for example.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about Mercury, because that's the big one, right?
Yeah, everybody knows about Mercury retrograde.
Right, everyone's like, oh, Mercury's retrograde, that's why this happened.
Exactly. And, Mercury is all about communication. It rules, our thoughts, how we express ourselves, travel, short distance travel, technology, information, all of that stuff.
Right, all the ways we get things back and forth,
Exactly.
Send and receive information.
Exactly. And so during Mercury retrograde, those areas can get a little glitchy.
A little glitchy, right?
Yeah, so that's where you get the classic miscommunications, the travel delays, the technology malfunction.
Oh, so that's why my phone's been totally freaking out the last few days.
It's very possible.
Got it.
Yeah, but, instead of getting frustrated by it, think about, how can you use this time to actually improve your communication?
Okay, yeah.
Maybe, practice active listening. Maybe, be a little more mindful about what you're putting out there on social media or...
Reread an email 7 times before you send it?
Exactly. Yes, double check that text message before you hit send.
Right.
All of that stuff. It's really about refining how we communicate.
Okay, so basically take advantage of the pause.
Exactly.
Use it as a time to check in and be okay, how am I communicating? What can I do better?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like cleaning up your mental inbox.
I like it.
Getting rid of all the spam.
All right, so then what about, speaking of relationships and communication, what about Venus retrograde?
Yeah, Venus retrograde, that's another one that people kind of get a little nervous about.
Yeah, especially if you're dating or something, right?
Especially if you're dating, yeah,
Yeah.
because Venus is all about love and relationships, but it's also about our values.
Okay.
What we find beautiful, what we find pleasurable, how we relate to money and resources.
Okay, so it's a lot more than just romance.
It's a lot more than just romance. Yeah, it's about what do you value in life?
Okay.
What brings you joy? All of that good stuff. And so during Venus retrograde, it's a time to reevaluate those things.
Okay.
Are the relationships you're in actually aligned with your values? Are you seeking validation from external sources instead of, cultivating your own self-worth?
Oh, that's deep.
It's a very introspective time. It's not necessarily the best time to start a brand new relationship or, make a major financial investment.
So it's not a time to go on a dating spree or
Not necessarily, yeah.
go buy a house or something.
Probably not the best time for that, but it is a good time to maybe revisit old relationships,
Right.
Reconnect with people from your past, or maybe, rekindle a creative project that you kind of put on the back burner.
Okay, so it's a time to go back to things that you maybe had left behind and see if they still resonate with you.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like hitting the refresh button on your heart.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about Mercury, we've talked about Venus. What about Mars?
Ah, Mars retrograde. Yeah.
This is the planet of action energy, right?
Yes, exactly. It's all about how we assert ourselves, how we go after what we want to drive our ambition.
So what does it mean when Mars goes retrograde? Does that mean we should just stay on the couch and not do anything?
Not necessarily no,
Okay.
but you might find that you have a little bit less energy or you're feeling less assertive than usual.
Okay.
And that's because the energy of Mars is being directed inwards during this time.
Okay.
So it's a good time to reassess your goals, your motivations. Are you actually pursuing things that you're passionate about, or are you kind of stuck in a rut doing things out of obligation?
So it's kind of a time to look at like why you're doing the things you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like checking in with your inner warrior,
Okay.
making sure that you're fighting for the right causes.
Okay.
And, it's not the best time to start new projects during Mars retrograde,
Okay.
but it is a good time to like strategize,
Okay.
reevaluate existing projects, maybe, refine your approach.
So kind of like if Mercury is communication, Venus is values, Mars is like action,
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
like how you take action.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so I think, one of the most important things to remember about all of this is that retrograde periods are not a curse.
Right.
They're actually a huge opportunity for growth.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like the universe is giving you this gift of time
Right.
to really go inward and understand yourself better.
Yeah. And like figure out, if you're on the right path or not.
Exactly. And the key is to pay attention to your own experience. Like,
Wow.
how do you personally feel during these retrograde periods?
Okay.
Are there any recurring patterns that you notice, any insights that come up for you?
Right.
And journaling can be a really powerful tool during these times.
Yeah, that's actually really good advice because, it's like you're checking in with yourself, but also you're keeping track of it so you can kind of see how it unfolds over time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like having a conversation with your subconscious.
Right.
And, the more you understand these cycles, the more empowered you'll feel to actually navigate them.
Right.
Even use them to your advantage.
Instead of being afraid of them.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And, it's also important to remember that all planets go retrograde.
Right.
This is a cycle that we all experience. It's just part of the cosmic dance.
Right. So it's not like you're being singled out or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, don't be afraid. Embrace the retrograde.
Use it to your advantage.
Yeah. Use it to your advantage.
So maybe like a good takeaway for our listeners today would be to like, next time one of these planets goes retrograde, whether it's Mercury, Venus, Mars, whatever it is, like actually like pay attention to how you feel. See if you notice any patterns.
That's a great idea.
Maybe even keep a journal. Write down what's coming up for you, what you're noticing, what you're feeling. See if you can kind of like track how it's affecting you.
Yeah, I love that. And, who knows what kind of aha moments might come up for you.
Right, exactly. So many possibilities.
So many possibilities. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for breaking all that down for us today. That was super helpful.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure.
And yeah, hopefully everyone listening feels a little bit more empowered to like handle those retrogrades.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll catch you guys next time.
See you later.